Alright, so I literally had just did this and realized I went way too long on that video, so I'm gonna redo it. This video is going to cover just a few other small things that people might not think of that definitely can help you out and improve your gameplay. First thing you should do, especially if you're kind of newer to survival-based games, controls. Put the controls at whatever's comfortable for you. If you need to adjust any of this stuff, adjust it. Most games have the option to flip the axis as well as your mouse sensitivity. Set it where what's comfortable to you. Don't always go with what the game gives you. Some people need it slower, some need it faster. The better it is for you, the better you're able to control what's going on in the game, considering everything, movement wise, other than walking, is based on your mouse. The next thing is keybinds. I've said it in some of my other videos. I do not like left control to be my crouch or sprint or any other keybind. This game, the ducking is not a huge thing. Uh, I can just leave it there because you're typically just ducking to reload, things like that. It's not something you're using a whole bunch. So I just left it alone, but typically I'll change that to like C or something, especially if there is a option to allow you to leave it on by toggle where you just hit the key once and you stay that way. This game, no, you pretty much gotta hold whatever key you set it to, so I just left it alone. Uh, Another thing that I had talked about in that video, I'm not going to post because it was nearly 30 minutes and I want this to be a quick video, is make sure to bind these things to what you want. Uh, I have extra keys on my mouse, so, if you plan on going exploring for a while on the map, you might want to bind that to one of your extra keys. In fact, I can show you. So, we can bind that to mouse 3 for me, so now I can either use G or mouse 3 to get that map up. Clearly you can see that it's not the greatest in the world to use extra keybinds like that. So we can just clear that out. But, yeah, bind keys to what you want them to be at if they work for you. Another thing is I wanted to talk about this key specifically. Where did it go? Here, hover loop. So if you hold H and you're in any chest, H will automatically grab these things out. So I push H and I just scroll over it. It automatically will pick up whatever I'm cursing over. Helpful when looting, if maybe not with the H key, but if you set that to maybe one of your other mouse buttons or something, then you can kind of hover through real quick and quick loot everything rather than right clicking or dragging things from a chest. Things like that are what I want to discuss. I want to discuss the things that people might not go over because it's either a tooltip in the game or it's a key binding that you may never even look at. Another thing I want to show off, if you didn't know, right click and drag and you'll bring one item from a stack. If you middle mouse click, it's a half a stack. What if I only want a third of a stack? I can shift and middle mouse button and drag it. It will split it into a third. Very handy for your fuel, especially. There's other things this is handy for, kind of like, maybe you got a teammate and you want to give them part of these pumpkins. Well, maybe I'm feeling greedy, so they only get 6. If I'm feeling generous, I'll give them the full 10. Definitely improves your game because, let's say you want a boat and you're not aware you can do a third, but you want 50 fuel in it. Well, you're going to have to keep playing with this until you get the stack size where you want it if you didn't know and try to balance it all out. That's actually in a tooltip for the game. But let's say you got a lightning fast computer that loads this game up in a few seconds. You're not going to see more than one tooltip if you even see the one tooltip. These are the things I want to discuss in the videos. just because nobody else covers it. These are very basic things, you know, they're in the game in tooltips. You can pull up and look at your controls. But if you don't play survival games or you're not aware of this, most survival games, first thing you want to do is get your controls straightened out and go through the tooltips that are already in the game. The problem is, not all games, like 7 Days to Die, it loads up pretty slow. You can read through the 30 tooltips that you get every time, you know, probably in 2 loads, even with a fast computer. But it's things nobody wants to cover or talk about because maybe it seems too simple to them. It doesn't seem important, you know, people should be paying attention while the game's loading and things like that. I don't necessarily agree with. If you're like me, a lot of times before we start a live stream, I'm getting a cup of coffee and rushing back over to get ready while the game's loading. Another thing that I discussed in this video, always feel free to come visit me if you're, especially if you're new and you're just starting out and you've never played. If you want some ideas on what to do, which my base is not a perfect example of what you should do, in fact, I would not recommend most of what I did, feel free to come over here and look at it if you want to see how to make the airlock that I discussed in the how to get started video. Come over. My doors are not locked for that reason. That way people can come visit, you know, if you want to come over and see how I did something. If you want to stop by and get you a sip of water, this holds 10,000 water, and it's pretty much just me and Shroom together right now, and, you know, he's very busy, does his own videos on his other games, so he ain't around too much. Feel free to stop by, come check it out. If you're in the area trying to get you some loot, or maybe set you a base location up close by, feel free to come over. Another thing I've showed off in one of my videos of me playing is the chest I have in here, which is back here, this small chest right here. Feel free to take a stack of this if you need help getting started and you're having an issue with your food. Take a full stack of this, that's what it's in here for. I have more here for if we get more people, just so it's accessible. I don't use this for myself. I get my pumpkins, corn, candy, bars, whatever I can get myself. This I could have simply deleted after I set the server up because that's what I was using to stay alive, but I've thought about maybe there's new people who will never have played before. But these are just a few simple things. I want to keep this video short, so I'm going to end it here. But I'm going to do a few more videos just explaining some very basics, then we'll kind of work our way up to the more advanced stuff. In fact, because I've never done electricity before, I'm going to watch a few videos and then do it live, well, record it without me actually attempting it first, just so you can get to see all the funny mistakes I make and the frustration for it. But yeah, I'm going to do a few more of these videos probably in the next few weeks, just simple things, things that maybe most people never have even thought about, or they thought was way too simple and nobody would need help with. But I feel like it's necessary because, you know, maybe this is the first game you've ever played that's a survival game. I've played dozens, you know, for thousands of hours. Some of this stuff, to me, like building this base, took me hardly any time. That's why the layout ain't the best. I didn't think it through, I just kind of threw it together and it works for me. But we'll discuss some other stuff in the next video I do.